Hi, folks. I'm Jamie Hiles,
I'm Lydia Judy.
I'm Derek Lemaster.
and this is Scream Bloody Movies, the podcast where we review a horror movie each week and we go over the horror news. And tonight, we travel back to the olden times of 1666 as we finally complete our Fear Street trilogy. How are you guys doing tonight?
Doing good.
I'm chilling like a villain.
Good, good, good. I'm doing great as well. Just, got back from hanging out with the fam and, finished the film right before we got up here. So this thing is fresh in my mind. So I'm ready to talk about it. Guys, before we get into the overarching Sarah Fear story, the conclusion of the Sarah Fear story, as it were, we've got a little wee bit of horror news. So let's go over that. And not a lot, but some of it is kind of cool. Like that San Diego Comic-Con is coming up. You guys know that, right? It is Friday, July 25th. Yes. And the Jason Universe initiative will be there. They have a panel on that Friday for the 45th anniversary of Friday the 13th, which is fucking wild, right?
Yeah, pretty crazy.
Which will have a first look at the people are destroying this thing, but that Sweet Revenge that they mentioned, which is that Angry Orchard commercial. We don't want that, guys. We want a fucking Jason movie. But that's going to be showcased, as well as some actual interesting stuff, like Crystal Lake. There should be a message from the set of Crystal Lake because it is currently shooting. So that's good. We'll have a first look at from Spirit Halloween's newest Jason mask, based off that new design, which kind of looks like dog shit if you ask me, but what do you guys think of that? You saw the new design. We discussed it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Yeah, it looks like dog shit. Also, there's going to be a limited, for those attending, they get a Mondo lithograph with the Sweet Revenge vignette, and then a new Ultimate Jason Tom Savini action figure. So it doesn't look like we're getting a lot of... we're not getting any news about a new movie, which is unfortunate, but any Friday the 13th news is better than none. Also, this isn't horror-related, but it's interesting. George Lucas is headlining his first Comic-Con ever. He's going to be headlining Hall H this year. And if I could go, I would go, because that'd be incredible to see George Lucas in person.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So that's all for that. Derek, this is for us. Yorkie-thon is back.
Ah,
The 9th annual Yorkie-thon is taking place on July 25th through the 27th. So that's excellent. We don't have a lot of stuff yet. We know that it's going to have some special guests, just like always, the comedy, the music, the film commentaries, the script readings, all the good stuff. And the live script reading will be of, this is cool, Marcus Dunstan and Patrick Melton's never produced Halloween Returns, which was going to be made in 2015. Which I've read the script for. I've read it. This is fascinating, guys. So, in 2015, right? They did a bunch of stuff. They were trying to, they were flirting with a sequel to Rob Zombie's Halloween. They wrote, I think actually, Dunstan Melton wrote a draft for Halloween. No, I'm sorry. The Drive Angry. Yeah, they did. They wrote a draft for Halloween 3D. It was not great because it's still in the Rob Zombie universe and everything. But they wrote a draft of that. They had other different drafts, and then Derek, what are you doing?
What am I doing?
But
Keep going.
they wrote a draft, or so they wrote this script, Halloween Returns, and this wasn't just like a spec script, one of those that this is one of the unproduced screenplays. This thing was going to get made. It was scouted. It was It was in pre-production. I think there was casting. This thing was going to get made in 2015, and then the fucking wildest thing happened. Dimension Films lost the rights to Halloween because it was in their contract that they had to make a film, every so often, and if they didn't, they would lose the rights. The rights would revert back to Compass Entertainment, and that's what happened. They lost the rights, so this thing was going into production, and they lost the rights, and they were picked up by Blumhouse, and we got the David Gordon Green trilogy. So it's kind of crazy how that works out, right?
That is wild.
So what was the time frame between when did Rob Zombie's Halloween, like the second one, come out?
2009.
So what, they had to make like one every 5 years or so?
Yeah,
Probably,
I think so.
ish.
Probably.
That's
Something
crazy.
like that. Yeah, or at least like the extended and stuff like that. Because if you think about it, from when they got the rights in 98 to do, because H2O came out in 98, and then 2002 was Halloween Resurrection. Then 2005 was Rob Zombie's Halloween. 2009, and then they took too long to make another one, and the rights reverted back. Crazy stuff, right?
That was pretty crazy.
Because there was a whole weird thing about like the Akkads had like certain rights, but then they got merged with Dimension, so they were stuck in Dimension, and they were having trouble getting stuff off the ground. It was a whole thing. But yeah, so Halloween Returns is actually interesting. It takes place after, obviously, Halloween 78, and it's like an alternate like timeline of stuff. It's kind of weird, but interesting. So I'll be interested to hear that live script reading. That was our Halloween tangent for the day, guys. Thank you. Thanks for coming to my Halloween history class. I'm your professor in all things Halloween. Guys, George Romero's daughter, Tina Romero, is making a zombie movie called Queens of the Dead, getting a theatrical release this fall. It's being made by Shudder, and the IFC and Shudder are the ones that have acquired the film. The story is a zombie apocalypse. Let's see, where is it? Story follows an eclectic group of drag queens, club kids, and frenemies who must put aside their personal dramas and use their unique skills to combat the brain-thirsty undead when a zombie apocalypse breaks out during their drag show in Brooklyn. Katie O'Brien, Margaret Cho, Bridget Lundy Payne, Cheyenne Jackson are in the film. And like I said, it is directed by Tina Romero. What do you guys think of this?
I would watch it.
Hey,
It's a Romero zombie movie, technically,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Technically,
Let's see if she can
yes.
follow in her father's footsteps.
Yeah. I mean, that's hard to do. Nobody's been able to do that quite yet. So, Tom Savini got the closest, I think.
Man, so this is like actually a perfect like side tangent. So this past week, I was just randomly thinking of weird stuff, and I was like, man, I have not seen a zombie movie set like over the 4th of July. Right? And like, in my mind, I was like, well, what if a zombie like clan, not a zombie clan, but like these, so a lot of rural people live next to graveyards. Like, what if this family like got attacked by these zombies and they're shooting like bottle rockets in people's eyes and blowing people up with. Anyway, I was just like, that'd be a pretty cool concept. Anyway, we can move on. It'd be fun.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like where you're going
Yeah,
with that.
we're probably going to cut that from the episode because we might develop that. So, see what there is there. I do know that fireworks play a part in the Romero zombie verse. Do you remember? In the Land of the Dead, they call them skyflowers, and it distracts the zombies so they can do whatever they need to do. And then finally, we got some character posters for The Long Walk, the Stephen King adaptation, which looks great. It's gonna be great. Hopefully, we have Mark Hamill's character on here, and so this movie, guys, is coming out. It's going to be at the Hall H in San Diego Comic Con on July 25th from 3 to 4. So we'll find out more. But, this is a movie that has been wanting to be made for a long time. The 79 novel is very popular. It's kind of... The story follows Raymond Garrity, a 16-year-old who takes part in an annual contest in which 100 teens must journey non-stop and under strict rules until only one is left alive. It's called The Long Walk. And this was a book that Stephen King, for the longest time, said no to anybody that tried to adapt it. He didn't want to adapt it, and now it's finally coming. And it's being directed by Francis Lawrence, of Constantine and I Am Legend fame. So we'll see. I mean, I'm interested to see it. I mean, especially if... Stephen King fucking just gave his rights to a lot of movies. There's a lot of dog shit Stephen King movies. There's also a lot of great ones, obviously, but he was just kind of like, yeah, go ahead and make that movie. Mm-hmm. Go ahead and do Sometimes They Come Back. Sure. So, for him to hold off on that one, it was special to him.
Yeah,
so,
it's being a little selective.
Yeah, with that one. So, I know Joe Lynch for years talked about how that's the one movie he wanted to make, and now somebody else is making it, which is unfortunate because Joe is great. So I would like to see that.
Well, I saw the trailer for it.
Yep, looks good, right?
It does look pretty good.
The Long Walk. And that wraps up the horror news. All right, guys. Picture it. You wake up, and all of a sudden you're in this 15th century, 1666. You're roaming around. You don't know what's going on. You're just kind of roaming. And you are accused of witchcraft. Because you're not in control of anything. You are just seeing it. That is where Dina finds herself in this installment, the final installment, the trilogy capper of Fear Street. Fear Street, 1666. So, guys, going by your pattern, is this the second time each of you have watched this one?
Yep.
Same.
Yep.
I haven't seen it since it came out, and I was surprised about how much I remembered about it, really. Because I remembered quite a bit. And I have some thoughts on the pacing and the way it plays out. But where do you guys want to start with this one? Because let's start with... Go ahead, Derek.
All right. First off, I had no idea Aaron Rodgers was such a good actor. That really took me by surprise.
Nick Good kind of does look like Aaron Rodgers, especially when he's Solomon Good, right?
Yeah, Solomon Good. I was like, Jesus Christ, man.
Well, you know what happened? He went into a darkness retreat, and came out and decided that he was worshiping the devil.
Bad shrooms.
Bad shrooms. That ayahuasca got him. So, yeah. So this setup is interesting because Dina's not living. Like, she's not making choices in this thing. She's just an avatar for us, the audience. And we're seeing things through she's seeing things through Sarah Fier's eyes and how everything plays out. And what is interesting is that we get a bunch of the returning we get a bunch of the cast returning. People that either from part 1 or part 2 return for different roles. So the actor that plays Josh is Sarah Fier's brother. And then, the actor that plays Sheriff Good is Solomon Good. And then we have, the Tommy Slater is now the Mad Thomas. and we have our two favorite characters from the original have roles as like the so her best friends. They have roles as her best friends in this. They all are kind of, and then Sam is the Miller daughter, the her love interest again. So that I think that's kind of cool that they did that to kind of give us a way in to the characters and for Dina to kind of relate to these things, I think.
Yeah.
What do you think of that choice?
What was your question?
Lydia, you answer it, and then maybe he'll understand what the question was.
I think it's really smart that they made all of those characters these new characters because it makes us more attached to these characters, and also, I guess it would have been a little jarring to just have completely different characters in this.
Yes, and so the only character that we do see the real version of is Sarah Fear. We flash to the real Sarah throughout every once in a while, and see the real Sarah's reaction and how she's reacting to these things. I think I agree, Lydia. I think it's a good choice to kind of connect us, ground us, make things familiar so we know it's part of the same story. And it was also really smart to, instead of just, Dina looking in the mirror and we see Dina, and then the rest of the time we see Sarah Fear, it's the opposite. Every time she looks into like a reflection, she sees Sarah Fear, but we're seeing Dina the whole time. That because it helps with, first of all, it's a shorthand for humanizing Sarah Fear, because we already have a connection to Dina. So it helps with that, and it also helps with so it's the shorthand for that, and kind of, like I said, grounds us in that reality. The plot to this one is, so the backstory to Sarah Fear is very interesting, and the way that this all plays out is pretty interesting as well, because there's things from earlier that pay off here, that were set up that we didn't really understand yet. And then as this goes on, we do start to understand. I do want to say this, that Mad Thomas is like one of the grossest looking people I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, you would not want to run into that guy ever.
You wouldn't want to kiss that guy ever.
No, definitely not.
No.
Man, his teeth reminded me of family members.
Not just
Wow.
not just his physical, not just his physical appearance, but also like he truly seems to be out to just get people.
He's just an evil person, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's definitely also just grody and greasy, and just he smells like piss. You know what I mean? Like he
is not,
because he's a drunkard. He's a drunkard, and then we also what I like is that the way they set up Solomon Good is as like a sympathetic hero. Like he's kind of like a good guy. Mm-hmm. If you pay attention though, you could kind of, us being on our second watch, we immediately track that he's down on his luck and having bad luck. So that would track that he would be the one desperate enough to use it. So it makes sense why he does, because he lost his wife, he's lost his child, and he is just doesn't have, like, he's trying to farm and there's nothing to farm. So we get this kind of setup early, but he's presented as like a hero throughout most of the thing. So the way it kind of breaks down is the first hour of the movie is the 1666, and then the second 45 minutes or so is Fear Street Part 2, 1994 Part 2. Mm-hmm. So we kind of get like a full story, a payoff, an ending, to snap back to get like the full conclusion. But yeah, so the kind of setup like I said, the kind of inciting incident really is that, that one fucking douchebag guy tries to like have his way with
The
the
Miller
Miller
daughter.
girl. Yeah, and
Sarah
You
Miller.
know,
Was
yep.
it Sarah? No.
No,
wait.
Sarah Fear.
Hannah. Hannah.
Yeah, yeah. So Sarah, of course, steps in and makes fun of him because he has like a fucking boner. And so he gets made fun of when they're all out in the woods, like basically getting high because they're eating these like, berries basically that are just
They're
giving
having
them
a party.
yep, a little pre party. And then that inciting incident leads to basically they start making out, and a figure sees them, and then they run back home, and then old Thomas sees them as well, kissing goodnight. And then once everything starts to go bad, the crops start to go and stuff, they immediately start blaming witches, which in this case is true. There is a curse, but like immediately they just start in with, "Oh, there must be witches around here." And you're like, "Oh my god, man, these idiots! Everything is a witch or witchcraft." So the townspeople themselves are pretty terrible, right?
Yeah, it's just how it was. It's how it was
Yeah.
back then. Everything was terrible.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, and like even when they are, so like the food's starting to rot and things like that, and the evil is setting in. Boner Dude was the one who, because he was slighted
Mm-hmm.
by them, was like, it's these ones
Yeah,
because
exactly.
you embarrassed me and I wanted her and
Yeah,
I'm gonna get
yeah.
back
So
at
it's
you.
them. I saw them. They did these things to me. He says, she seduced me and brought me to the woods and all this shit. But this is after we get what the big deal, the big exciting incident is that the pastor murders all of the kids in church, cuts out all their eyeballs, and then he's killed by Solomon Good. And so, it's just like, oh my, the town obviously is in shock. Obviously, there's something fucked up, and they're trying to figure it out. And he, after this whole crazy thing occurs, the town's, has a meeting, and that's when old Boner Boy's like, oh, they did it. But there's other people that were there at the woods, the kids. I would have said, no, man, he's mad because he got a boner in the woods. Just called him out immediately. That's Boner guy. We don't talk about Boner. And then just to see what happened then, because I think
Yeah.
that would have been hilarious.
Well, and there's a small little
Tradition.
detail, like these people are rooted in superstition and
100%.
faith. Because when the Miller girl, Hannah, realizes that there's something wrong with her dad, she makes a comment how he went to bed and then it's like something crawled into him and
Yeah.
all this, and
she's
looks
the one
to
that
the
brought
Bible
Yeah.
for guidance, and Sarah's like, he needs medicine.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So,
so
like,
they think it's.
Yeah, that's where their mindset is.
And then also, once old boy bears false witnesses, a lot of other townspeople just start lying and bearing false witness because they need to blame somebody or something because their primitive, stupid fucking minds can't understand things. So since they can't understand things, they just need a scapegoat.
Yeah.
So they immediately like Sarah Fear and Hannah, Hannah Miller, and it's just like over and over. So they take Hannah, and she's to hang at dawn. Sarah's hiding, and she goes to visit the old witch woman, which is played by the nurse, by the way. And she goes to visit the nurse, or the witch woman,
The widow.
because she's going to use. She's like, well, if they think we did witchcraft, let's fucking do it. Let's do it then.
We're
she goes-
guilty anyways in their eyes.
Yeah, let's do it. And so she's like, maybe I can save you. She goes to do it, and then finds out that she's dead. So she goes to the only friend she has, Solomon Good, who's been her her confidant and her friend throughout all of this. So she goes to visit him, and he's like, "Oh man, I can, I can look at this, and I can. I don't know who else did you tell about all this stuff." And then the townspeople, the townspeople, which they are fecal,
Might as well
but the
call it
towns,
people, yeah.
yeah, the townspeople show up, the villagers with their pitchforks, and he tells her to hide, which was dumb that he hid her in the room where his underground lair was, but I mean, I guess he just wasn't thinking clearly.
He didn't know what to do.
Yeah, so he hides her. She finds the underground lair and finds out that he is the one that put the curse, and he explains to her, "I'm still the same guy. It's just, one person. I just need one soul, and that's it, and then everything will be good." And she's like, "But it's not one soul. He killed 12 people, including my brother."
Mm-hmm.
And she stabs him.
Innocent children.
Yep. And we realize that he's not good. He not only has he made a deal with the devil,
Good
but
is
his
evil.
empathy is pretty much gone. His empathy is. So they
Well, and he had a catalyst for this path. Like, he really didn't move to that path until he saw in the woods that Sarah and Hannah hooked up. And there's that saying that history doesn't repeat, but it often rhymes. And who knows if that is the reason why those two were chosen, so to speak. Maybe it was happenstance, maybe it wasn't. But once he saw that, I think is when he was like, "All right, let's do this." He went and killed the witch and took her book.
Yeah.
And now
Well, and he had
she's
like
out for blood.
yeah, and so because he's the one that saw them. Yes, he was like trying to get her to come and join him and marry him, and they'd be happy. And she stabs him, and then tries to get away. He cuts off her hand. That's how she loses the hand. And
yeah,
then
that was gross.
yeah, and so then she escapes, and he grabs her and tells him, "Oh, I found the witch." And instead of saying, I don't know, "Hey guys, won't you go look underneath his house? There's a fucking altar where has a black book and he's murdering people. It's literally under his house." She's just like, "I guess they got me."
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like you could plead your case. They're probably, you at least have to. You're right. Like,
Yeah.
they're probably going to dismiss you, but I would be like, "No, here's the proof. Let's go to his house."
Yeah, let's check it out.
Check it
Let's
out.
see what happens. Yep. But, then we wouldn't have a story if that happened. It would have been a different story at least. So she, of course, sacrifices herself. She says that she clouded Hannah's, she put her under her spell. She's the witch. She caused everything. So that way it spared Hannah's life. And then she tells Good, as he's getting ready to have her, tie her up to be hanged, that the truth will come out eventually. And that he's going to chase her, or she's going to chase him with the truth. And he'll never escape it. So then, after she's hanged, her friends take her body and they bury it where we see it buried. That's why it's not where the X was, because they were like, "We're going to bury it to where only we know where it is," and as like a honoring her. And they carve her name in it and everything, into the locks and all that stuff. Put the halo on her head and honoring their fallen friend. And then once, so what do you guys think of that section before we get into 1994? What do you guys think of the 1666 section?
So it's absolutely necessary, I think, to get the backstory. There are parts of it that are a little slow, but it's a necessary evil to get us to the second part of this, because that's where, we now know, like, the stage is set, so to speak. So
Yeah, what do you
Yeah.
think, Lydia?
I really like it because I really love seeing like this time period. Like like that was like the main part of it for me that I mean I love the characters and everything, but I just love seeing like back then. It's so interesting to me how people used to live. Like it's just wild.
So I'm
But
of both
Yeah.
camps. I think that the story is interesting, for sure, and the setting is cool. I do agree, Derek, that it is a little slow because it does need to be. It needs to be able to breathe a little bit. But
Mm-hmm.
here's where the problem lies: is it's so slow that when we get back to 1994, it's too fast. 1994 is just way too fast from it.
Yeah.
Like it's like a
Yeah.
tonal whiplash. It's like, you know, because we're doing like, then we're in the fucking whiplash. You know, we're
I
playing
kind
some
of felt
thrash
that
metal.
too. I felt that too, in ways like in the back in the 90s, it's like, uh, it's like you're missing a few beats. Even like you're like,
Well,
oh,
yeah,
there should be more in the 90s part of it.
and I think that's because they wanted to keep the runtime short.
Yeah, which I
So
totally understand.
instead of making it 2 hours, 2.5 hours, it's an hour and 45 minutes. So instead of making it which I think if you made it 2 hours to 2.5 hours, and you split it up, it's still that hour. Then the next back half could be that hour and a half. You could do that, but it would kind of probably be a slog. By the end of it, you'd be exhausted. So I don't know how maybe you could have trimmed some of the fat off of the 1666, but you'd be kind of sacrificing some character stuff, and you need to kind of care about those people in order for certain things to land. But also, maybe they tried to make us care about them too much because we kind of just really needed to because the story, though Sarah Fear is very important, obviously, because she ties the whole thing together and it's about redeeming her. The real crux of the story is Dina, Sam, and Josh, right? And Ziggy. That's really where the heart of the story is at this point.
Yeah.
So, but it's a really great cut after when she comes back and we just cut to boom and it says 1994 part 2. I remember watching this for the first time and I'm like, oh man, this is I'm into it and all, but I'm like I'm saying, man, there's like 45 minutes left of this thing. And then how's this
We
going
did
to
the
end?
same thing.
And then it boom and we cut into 1994 and that title card comes on. You're kind of like, all right, yeah, it's badass. And then you're right in. And basically 1994 just kind of plays as like the third act of a movie as opposed to the second part of a story. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because we've already seen the beginning of it now, so we're just like,
Kind of, yeah. And so we'll talk about that stuff here in a minute, but there's some stuff I want to hit on in 1994 because I think that I like this ending. I think there's some cool stuff. I like the trap idea, and I like the way it kind of plays out, but I think that the pacing's wonky because it is so fast because they're trying to cram so much into what's essentially 45 minutes of runtime. Right? Actually, less than that. Basically, the main action is of a half hour because then we have like almost 10, 15 minutes of wrap up. So it's essentially she comes back and she's like, hey, by the way, Nick Good is bad. Good is evil. They steal his car and then they're off. And she explains that whenever we're seeing when Sarah Fear shows them something, they're not being cursed. She's trying to show the people the truth. So when she bleeds on the hand, or when when Ziggy grabs the bone, or when the thing happened with Sam to start the catalyst, all of those things were Sarah Fear explaining, hey, this is what's going on. There's something something nefarious. We also find out the reason that Sam was picked is because she did know something, so that's why she was picked as the next, as the target. And we find out some interesting stuff because it goes back and shows all the good boys, and we find out that in 1978, Nick Good is the one that sent out the Nightwing killer. And he's the one that picked Tommy Slater to be the killer. So when he's acting all heroic, it's because he knows that he's safe. It's not going to come for him. And he also knows that he could be the one to kill it because they are the ones, like the Goods are the ones that puts the killer down. That's how it works. So it doesn't come back unless they need it to. So
Yeah, and there was some symbolism that I wanted to talk about last week, but obviously we couldn't. So there's that scene where he's outside of a bunk with another kid, and the kid's like, "Oh, you've got blood on your hands,
mhm.
right?
Hmm.
And is that yours?" And like the symbolic of, yeah, he definitely has blood on his hands. He's the one who did this. So yeah,
Yep.
there's some really great tiebacks, and it's pretty
Yeah,
good.
well, I mean, there's a couple of them. There's when we find out that when he arrested the one guy for graffiti is because he did it and framed him. The reason that he was the first to show up on the scene, we find out, is because he has a fucking layer straight from the mall to his house. So that's why he arrived first on scene to put him down. So that way, not only is he a hero, but he ends it. Um, we find out that like those questions he was asking and stuff aren't because he's like, oh, I experienced this, I want to help. It's because he's trying to see what they know so he can get rid of them. And it, if you watch 1978 in isolation, you leave like, oh man, I kind of liked it. You know, Nick is charming and good in that part, and you feel for he and Ziggy. And then when you watch when you watch the turn, you know what happens. Then you're just like that piece of shit, you know.
Yeah. Like it shows in this one, like the flashback of him saying, like, I let a lot of people die tonight. And
Yeah,
she's like, no, that's not your fault. And he's just like,
yeah,
he was being honest right there.
yes, he let a lot of people die tonight. Yes,
Hmm.
absolutely. And so this third act is fun, but crazy, right? So we get to the mall. They have this whole plan of what do you think of this plan, guys? They put Dina's blood into water, and they pour dye into it, fluorescent, so that way it's blacklit and it's fluorescent. They load super soakers up with it, and they lead blood trails all the way into each of these storefronts so they can cage all of the killers and then kill Nick Good. And the main plan to kill Nick Good is to carry him.
Hmm.
I think that the plan is really fun, and I think it's a fun third act idea. What do you guys think?
It's so elaborate with the black lights and everything. I love it.
Yep. Yep.
No, I think it's pretty great. You know, lock them in the different areas and then unleash them on their creator.
Yeah. Yep.
Poetic. Actually, I would have really liked for it to have ended that way. Would have been kind of
Yeah.
cool. I get why it
Yeah.
didn't. I'm just saying
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
would have been like
Yeah, it was
poetic
bound
justice.
to fail. It was bound
Yeah.
to fail.
Yeah. It's a pretty solid idea, except for you have to think of the proximity and all that stuff. It would have been a better idea if they just would have fucking. They would have been hiding in their own. And when he came to him, squirted him with a squirt gun and lifted them up, and then, he couldn't get them. He'd been fucked. But then there'd been no dramatic tension. Uh, so I like that she's the one that stands there because Ziggy has to be told that Nick is bad, and she had already called him because she thought he was the good guy.
Yeah.
And they shared this moment, and this he saved her life and all this stuff. But the reason she nearly died was because of him. So she gets her modicum of revenge by, you know, luring him there and looking him right in the eye when she says, "You're it," and then douses him in blood. And then he tries to, he's like, if they get me, I'll kill her. Like a coward, then he gets stabbed in the back, which is fun. Uh, and then runs off like a bitch. Um, and then we get like some kind of wildness because here's where I think some things are a little wonky. Uh, I do one of the things I really so Dina chases him and chases after him, and Sam gets free and runs in there too. But there's this great bit that I think is a phenomenal idea, and I loved it. Is they spray each of the killers with blood so that they kill each other is great.
Yeah.
Perfect
Yeah.
idea.
It
Love
makes
it.
it. It's
That's
a
fun
lot of
writing.
fun to watch
Yeah, it's
these
fun
guys
writing.
like
Yeah.
tear each other apart. But yeah,
Yeah,
that's brilliant.
it's fun writing. Fun writing. And the fact that we have our new character to it, the maintenance man. What's his name?
Man, I can't remember. It's something weird.
His name is Martin. It's not weird. His name's literally Martin.
Oh, the maintenance man. I see. Okay, sorry. I was thinking of the
It's something weird. Fred.
Martin. I really like Martin.
Yeah. Well, he kind of runs into this. He's kind of just like, they pull up to him and they're like, "Hey, you want to help us kill Sheriff Good?" And he's like, "Let me get my coat."
I love that so much. It's so funny.
And then he's like, "Are we actually going to go through with this?" And then he finds out why, and he's like, "What the fuck did I get involved in?"
Yeah. I love, like, there's a moment where, like, all of it's over and he just, like, collapses to his knees, and I was like, Martin's been through a lot tonight.
Yeah, it's been a long night for Martin. Everybody else at least has had a couple days to 30 years to kind of prepare for this.
Yeah.
Martin's just had 2 hours.
Yeah. Cracks me up.
And when he wants to stop the monster. Joshua wants to stop the monsters from getting to Dina, and so he goes out to protect her, and runs into Ruby Lane, and she like breaks his arm, and she cuts him, and it's looking pretty dire until Ziggy shows up and blows his head off, and then it's looking dire for our whole team because Sam attacks Dina, and she has to fight her off, and she's hurt now because of it. And she's already hurt because she's been stabbed by her with the fucking bone and shit. And she cut her hand. She's kind of beat up. Sheriff Good's like real fucked up, but he's being hiding like a bitch, and talking about how his family rules it all and it's their birthright or what have you. And then she throws her off, and then she runs into him, and he stabs her. Again, she gets stabbed again. And then he's about to kill her, calls her some terrible names, and says that, he's going to basically frame her for everything. Say that she went crazy, killed her girlfriend, killed her brother, killed everybody else in the mall, and he stopped her, and he's going to get a medal, and it's how it always works for him. And then she makes him touch the gross thing that that we talked about last week.
Oh, yeah.
That nobody would ever touch. Yeah, so she makes him touch it, and he sees all of the shit, and Sarah Fear gets to him. And she has her revenge on him, showing him all of the things that have happened. And it's enough to, distract him. And he's running into things. He's seeing, fucked up Tommy Slater, and he's seeing, fucked up other people. And then he runs into Sarah Fear, who tells him the whole bit about the blood, or that he's going to be followed throughout the ages of time and whatever. And he gets stabbed in the fucking eyeball. What do you guys think of this ending?
I like it. I like that
His end.
He touched the butt and then got to see all the damage that has been done.
Yeah. What do you think, Derek?
Yeah, it kind of reminded me a little bit of the scene in The Crow when Eric...
Oh, where it gives him all of his pain?
All of his pain. Because that's essentially what is happening here. He's now feeling all of the pain and the suffering, and he's seeing the ghosts of all the people that have been killed by the choices his family has made. So yeah, it's pretty intense, and I feel like he gets a little bit of a easy out.
Yeah,
by the
stabbed
knife
in the
in
face.
eye. Yeah, that's why I wish
but
that
he
he
had
got torn apart by his creations. But
he had to die quickly because
yeah,
if he didn't, everybody else was in mortal danger. So that it had to be a quick end. But he also suffered because he was stabbed in the back and had to crawl that whole time.
And that would not be easy.
what
And
a
then he was
little
coughing up blood and shit.
bitch. That's what I say.
Yeah, so he dies, and then everything disappears, and we get our coda at the end of the movie. Well, first Sam and Dina follow the path, and we find Nick Good's house, and it's like this fucking mansion in Sunnyvale, like just this giant, beautiful house. And then we see like the Good family tree starts with Solomon Good, and it shows all the branches off.
The
And
goats
then,
everywhere.
yep,
And
and
motivational posters.
yep.
I was
And
like, what's with all the motivational posters? Like, I
has
get
to
the
keep him-
goats, but
he has to keep himself going, I guess.
it was like courage.
Yeah, has to keep himself going. He has to lie to himself that he earned this, as opposed to he's killing other people and making it happen.
Yeah.
And so we see the curse lift immediately because this rich couple starts to leave, and he gets fucking destroyed by a garbage truck.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, the curse is hitting Sunnyvale now.
But with a little bit of bad luck.
Yep. And then we find out from the coda all the stuff that Nick Good's been implicated in as the serial murder. He was the Shady Side serial killer, is what they're basically saying. He's been implicated in the murders of all of her friends. So Simon and Kate get their names restored. They get to be heroes now. We see that on the marquee at school, that there's going to be a something honoring them for their deaths, and they realize that they're now not being used as killers or murderers, but they are in fact victims, which is nice, clearing their names. And then we see that Martin's trying to he's trying to create what ends up being an iPod, an MP3 player. But you can't figure it out yet because he hates Discman because they skip. And he's trying to sell them outside the school from his trunk. And Josh, who by the way turned down the grossest looking pancakes I've ever seen in my life. Good on you for trying, Dina. Good on you for trying.
Those were supposed to be pancakes? Chocolate
They
pancakes?
were pancakes. No, they were just burnt, Derek.
They
were
were
just
burnt to a
burnt
crisp.
crisp. Yeah. They were just burnt to a crisp. So
Like every single one of them.
yeah, so he's like touches it.
He's like, the doctor said I can't have that.
Yeah,
Whatever
that's
that
I
is.
can't have whatever that is. By the way, it is funny that he's got that cast on his arm, and the only person that had signed it so far was Martin in giant letters.
Yeah.
Like they're buddies now for life. He's like Martin. And then he gets somebody else to sign it, which is because she talks about SSD cards, and that's how he needs to do. And he's like, you should, just hit me up. And we find out that that's the girl he's been chatting with on the internet. So he meets his internet crush in real life, which is pretty cute.
Queen of Darkness or something like that.
Yeah, Queen of Darkness. Cute. And then Ziggy's storyline gets her ending when she goes to the nurse to basically tell her that her daughter, basically, she was right. She brings the journal, and they both get closure, which is really nice as well. And then Dina and Sam get their, happy ending eating Burger King by Sarah Fier's tree after she carves an epitaph in the rock of the first Shady Cider, the first Shady Cider, Sarah Fier, which is a great little ending as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of this whole epilogue ending bit? Before we get to the very, very end.
I think they did a really good job, wrapping it all up. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's a tall task, I would say, to take a story of this size, fragmented into 3 sections, especially when they transition from different time periods, and then tie it all together, and the fact that it's a horror movie. So there was a lot of thought and care that went into this project. It's kind of amazing that they pulled off what they did. So kudos to them. I don't think you see something like that quite often. Because a lot of times horror movies are notorious for, they'll put out an original that does gangbusters at the box office, and then they immediately order a sequel that hasn't been thought of or written yet, and they rush to a story, but they kind of had things planned out, which was really nice.
Well, I mean, they also had they had the source material. They had R.L. Stein's
Exactly, yeah.
overarching Fear Street storyline of Sarah Fear. So they knew where they were going and where they were ending.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the coda ending is nice. I think that everybody gets their story wrapped up nicely. It's uplifting. It's you kind of leave on a good note, and then we still get one last teaser that's going to start again when we go to the crime scene and somebody grabs the book. So it could start again.
How was that book not taken into evidence? By
Well,
the
Right,
PlayStation?
it's just sitting there.
Well, you see, it's all marked off. They still have it. I guess they just haven't taken it yet. I mean, is what it is.
They were still in the process of.
They're still
photographing
processing the crime scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Still processing the crime scene. But yeah, it's fun. It's a fun ending because then it's like that could lead to so many other things. Could not lead to things because you could tell yourself that it was the nurse grabbing it so nobody else grabs. Somebody else can get it, or Ziggy grabbing it so nobody else could get it, or even Dina.
Or
but
somebody nefarious.
but it could be somebody nefarious. So that's the fun of it. It's the fun of the ending. So yeah, overall, what do we think? What do we think of this one? Because I have some, like we talked about, I have some thoughts on the pacing of it and
Here, let
how
me
that
pull
kind
up.
of plays out.
Let me pull up what we gave the last two.
I gave them a 7.5. You guys gave part 2 an 8. I gave both of the other ones a 7.5. I know because I just cut the episode today. So.
There you go. So, yeah, I'm gonna. This, in my opinion, this is not the strongest of the three, but it had a lot to cover. Still pretty solid, so I'm gonna give this one a 7 to kind of tie it all together. And yeah, I think in total, I think they did a pretty darn good job.
Yeah, what say you, Lydia?
I really liked it. I think it was a big task to pull all this together. I don't have any problems really with the pacing, except I would have probably liked it a little longer, just for the extra character development in the 1990s, 94. There were just a couple little things that they just kind of like Martin, for example. Just well, he didn't even ask any questions about so I don't know, just a few more little details in there. I wouldn't have even been mad at all. So, but yeah, I still think I liked the second one the best. That one was very enjoyable for me. So, but I love all the characters. I love this time period that we got to see. I think I'm gonna give this one a 7.5. So about the same as the first one for me.
Yeah, I'm about a 7 as well. I think that it's. I think all three of these are pretty on par with each other. Mm-hmm. I think this one to me is the weakest only because of the pacing issues, and it's not that I think that the 1666 stuff is bad. I think that the 1994 stuff just happens too fast.
Yeah.
I just think it's so like I said, we're kind of going at a leisurely pace to get to where we need to go, and then they strap a rocket on that thing and it fucking flies. Mm-hmm. So I think that maybe if either the pacing of the 1666 was a little quicker, then it would have. And I know why they did it. They wanted to feel like two different eras. But in doing so, it made that first part drag a little bit longer than it should have, I feel like. I think you could have cut 5 minutes out of 1666, or maybe even 10, and out of the first half, and it would have let that second half breathe a little more.
Do you think the witch hunt part, the preachy part?
Yeah, I think that part, and I think her, we didn't need to see her just sneaking through every single yard in the entire fucking village. I think that kind of was part of it. We needed to see her, like, obviously avoiding them, but if you do that one time, and you get the picture. Oh, she's avoiding them. She's hiding from them. And then you end up at the widow's house. She finds the dead body and it comes back. But I mean, she has sneak to be able to speak with Hannah that first time, and I wouldn't cut that scene. It needs to be there when she visits her in when she's locked up. But I think maybe some of it could have been tightened a little bit. And I do like when we're introduced to all the characters at the beginning and all that stuff. That stuff's good. But yeah, I just think that maybe some of that could have been tightened a little bit, and then the second half wouldn't feel like it needs to rush as much to get there. We could probably let some of that mall scene like breathe a little bit, or a little bit more character beats with them. But having said that, I don't think that it's not like a make or break bit for this. I think the movie still rocks. I think it's a lot of fun. I'm gonna give it a 7. Like I said, a 7. They're all solid movies. There's not one of them that I don't like. I think I'd probably revisit this one the least, except for the fact that it ends the story.
Yeah.
So you have, so part 3s are hard, man.
Yeah.
Name a part 3 that's better than the rest of them. It's really hard. Even part 3s that I love, right?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
That's the worst one by a large margin, Derek. But yeah, I mean, you think about the greats. Return of the Jedi is excellent, and it's one of my personal favorite Star Wars movies. It's one I rewatched. The only one I rewatched more than it is A New Hope, but like I really love watching it because it ends the story and it's a lot of fun. But I know that it's not as strong as the first Star Wars or Empire. Dark Knight Rises, I think, is great, but it's not near as strong as Batman Begins, and definitely nowhere near as strong as The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Godfather 3 is not a terrible film like people say it is, but in comparison to 2 fucking masterpieces, it is. When you make 2 films that both win Best Picture, that's a hard fucking act to follow.
Yeah. Oh, what about Return of the King?
Return of the King may be...
That's a good one.
It may be the one that... But I still don't think it's the strongest Lord of the Rings. I don't think it's the strong... I actually think Fellowship is the best Lord of the Rings.
I think so, too.
Fellowship's the best. I think Fellowship's the best.
Too. Yeah, but
of those.
Dang, Return of the King is pretty damn good.
No, it's a good ending, yeah. But like, it's just endings are hard to stick. Part 3s of trilogies are hard to stick, or
it has like
the
10
final
endings in it too.
That's the big problem with fucking Return of the King. Is it's Return of the King again and again and again.
Yeah,
of every character. It's like you're like, oh, what a great. It's still fucking going. Okay. What a great. Oh, there's another ending. Okay, great. Everybody gets their ending twice.
Yep.
That was the big knock on the movie when it came out. Was that it had so many endings. But I mean, it's the only one of those movies to win Best Picture.
That's true.
But that still doesn't mean it's the best one.
It's because that scene... Oh, never mind. We're going to get on a tangent. We've already talked about it too long now.
We have. But yeah, so endings are hard to land. And, I mean, just the third act of a movie is hard to land. Derek and I were talking about this the other day. Third acts of movies are hard to land. So the third act of a 3-act film structure is... The third act of a film structure is hard, but the third act of a 3-part series is even harder. Because you've got to tie it all together cohesively and satisfactorily. So I get it. And I think they did a bang-up job. It flies through. It's fun. It's the least scary of all 3, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I think it's the least scary. And And I'm going to say something else. I think a big reason that they spent so much time in 1666 is because Robert Edgar's The Witch had come out and was fucking massively popular. And probably there was some inspiration drawn from there. Because the way they shoot it, they kind of bleed the color out, kind of Edgarify it, but just without his
there were
unique
no colors
eye.
back then.
Well, I mean, people had colors. People were colors.
No, yeah, you're totally right. It looks very witch-like, and
Yeah.
it definitely is plays into why I like it so much because
Yeah.
I love that style. I love the witch.
Well, the
Um,
witch is fucking incredible. So that's a different
it
thing,
really is, yeah.
right, Derek?
Mm-hmm.
There's an episode of a show called Lore. I don't know if you
I
guys
remember
have
that
seen
show.
it.
Yeah,
It's on. I think it's on Amazon Prime.
yeah, I think so.
There's an episode about this kind of like witch hunt, and it looks like. I mean, they could have used the exact same set for all I know. It's very much just
Yeah.
exactly these scenes of her running around at night through these.
Through
old-
these like these square
buildings.
houses.
Yeah, the historical like set that they have there.
Yeah.
It's so much, but I really like that episode, so I was like, "Ooh, this is good."
No, it's good. It's good. And that is our Fear Street saga. We have ended it, guys.
Heck yeah.
So, in part 3, I mean, who would the great Tom Atkins play? It's time to Atkinize it. Who would the great Tom Atkins play?
Oh, we actually
this
have
one.
a few more characters that he could play in this one,
A few more, yeah.
but he would probably still be Mr. Good.
I would almost have to be, because he has the biggest role. I mean, he wouldn't be fucking Tommy, I can tell you that. That's
Yeah.
not the case. Yeah, I think you're right.
Preacher, like
Yep.
there's other men
Yeah,
in
but
the
they're
village.
they're just little bits that are just
Yeah,
bit parts. So it's either Solomon Good, which is the same as Nick Good.
yeah,
So he'd probably play that role, I would guess.
yep.
All right, Derek, buddy,
Yep.
wake up, you bitch.
I am awake.
Oh,
Hey, it's your turn to pick. What are we watching this week?
Um,
my blood
Alright.
pressure just went up a little bit.
why,
it.
Lydia? Why would you say that?
I'm
Derek
just being
did start
honest.
this. Derek did start this at least. So
I was just being
Yeah.
honest. I felt
Um,
the change.
All right, guys. I think I am gonna go with. So not that it defined a genre, but it reinvigorated a genre.
mm-hmm.
It reinvigorated the found footage,
Oh,
and we're gonna go with Paranormal Activity.
okay.
Oh yeah, okay.
All right, we can
Down
try
for
it.
that.
Yeah, yep.
What did you think I was gonna say?
I didn't know what you were gonna pick. I'm just
was
not
like-
the.
I was like, did we already do Blair Witch? And that was
I'm
like, the
just-
first found footage. So
I'm just gonna be honest with you. This one's good. I mean, we'll talk about it. I'm just not the biggest found footage fan.
oh
so
man, I love found footage.
when you said found footage, I was like, oh.
You're like, oh no.
What? Well, there's just, and we'll get into it when we do the review. It's bad found footage films I don't like because they're full of contrivances why they don't drop the camera. First of all, and second
Right.
of all, the cinematography is dog shit because they have to make it look like it's just somebody pointing a camera at somebody.
They don't even have to try, really.
Yeah, and I mean the good ones frame a shot well, so it they contrive it to where they're just kind of, but it still has an interesting thing. But yeah, that
Yeah, for
Yeah.
some reason, I found that I actually really like found footage films. I discovered
they give
that
me
about
kind of
myself.
headaches sometimes if they're a bad one as well, because you just get shaky cam and shit. So where
Yeah.
is Paranormal Activity streaming, Derek?
I don't know. I didn't go that far.
Jesus criminy. I have to do everything on this show.
I'm sure
Oh,
I have
I
it
got this.
somewhere over here in my ghost section.
All right, you can watch this on Fandango, Google Play, Apple TV, Amazon Prime.
Yep. Okay, good. No Fubo. No Fubo. Thumbs down on that.
Fubo
But
sponsor
next-
us.
Next week, yeah, because we'll talk about you for hours on end.
We've talked
Um,
about you so much.
So that is next week. So find it on any of those streaming services, and we will watch that next week. So be sure to comment down below on your thoughts on Fear Street as a whole. Now, I mean, you could talk about it as a whole. Talk about this particular episode. Which one's your favorite? Tell us your thoughts on this ending. Do you think they landed it? Do you think it's where it needs to be? Also, tell me down below your thoughts on what other movies you want us to do, because we would gladly love to hear your suggestions, because maybe it's something we haven't thought of yet. And also, public service announcement, if you guys haven't seen Superman, you should go see it, because it's a banger. It's a banger.
That's a banger.
I've seen it 3 times, and I love it. So you should go see Superman, because it rocks. Guys, go to Facebook. Follow us on Facebook. Give us a like there. You can follow us, HiLaProductions.com. Keep up to date on all of the things that we are doing, including our feature film that we are in the process of making, Secret Admirer, so that way you can see what you can do to help us make this thing. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next week for Paranormal Activity. Until then, for Derek, Lemaster, and Lydia Judy, I'm Jamie Hiles, and remember, if you're going to scream bloody movies.